Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another week of tremendous wrestling here on the Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action. We move into the second round of Mid-South Television Championship Tournament. We'll see Masao Ito take on Leaping Lanny Poffo. Also, other great matches on the card, and our guest commentator, a man who needs no introduction, the Junkyard Dog.
You know, it's always a pleasure to be out here among the fans and talk to the men and fans throughout the TV land. And this is going to be one exciting program. You know, we got a lot of exciting things going to happen.
I'm looking forward to it, and since you haven't been here with me, I've got to tell you, old buddy, like I tell everybody, enjoy it with me. Tell the people just what you feel in your heart, just what you see in the ring, but please stay with me. Do not interfere because you know what'll happen, okay?
Oh, yeah, I understand.
All right.
That.
You know, one of the greatest athletes in Mid-South Wrestling and professional wrestling as a whole since he came here is Magnum TA. Made an impression on all of us. He trains hard with wrestling too, but sometimes we have rest and relaxation. Something interesting we want you to watch along with us, Magnum TA.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Hold your head up, keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
Dog, did you recognize the music, The Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics?
Oh, yes, I did.
Magnum TA, we just saw him. He'll be in the Mid-South Television Championship Tournament on the 5th week, which is 3 weeks from now, against Crusher Darsow. Right now, let's go to the ring. Jim Ross will bring us the introduction of the opening event, a tag team match. So, Jim, let's go.
This will be tag team wrestling on Mid-South Wrestling. In the blue corner, the team of, at 218 pounds from Nashville, Tennessee, Tommy Heggie. And his partner at 238 pounds from Dallas, Texas, Brian Adidas.
Just give me the microphone, Jim Ross. Back off someplace. I have a special message that I would like to impart to someone at the present time. Cowboy Bill Watts, you've made some derogatory statements about me and my men. You've made some insinuations about me and my mother. I don't appreciate it. Don't push it. If you do, the Cornette family may have to buy controlling interest in Mid-South Wrestling, and then I would have the decision whether to fire you or have you work for me. Now, I would like to introduce, without doubt, the greatest tag team in professional wrestling, the best looking, the most talented, the strongest and the fastest, Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight Express.
Cornette, the arrogant, controversial manager of the Midnight Express, composed of Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, against Tommy Hagee and Brian Adidas. Adidas in the light blue tights, starting the match as referee Carl Fergie says, give me one man from each team, so it'll be Adidas against Condrey. Junkyard Dog is here.
You know, boy, before we get too deep into this match, you know, getting back to that Magnum chair, you know, that's every man's dream. Not only in professional wrestling, any other sports or any other job, is getting out, making a name for yourself, driving expensive cars, having the chauffeurs. Magnum had himself a nice chauffeur driving a big Rolls Royce, 2 or 3 girls out boogie woogie. You know, it looked so good to me, I started to jump back and kiss myself. But since I'm a married man and I have a family, so I'm not obligated, I'm not, you know, into, you know, doing things like that. But that Magnum 3 is making a name for himself, along with the help of wrestling too. And, you know, boy, not cutting nothing short, these Midnight Express, they have one heck of a team. But I heard that due to that tournament, they would not split up and enter that tournament single men.
That's right. They would not split their team to enter the tournament for the television champion. There you see Jim Cornette on there. I really don't appreciate what he said about Cowboy Bill Watts.
You know,
but I'll tell you one thing, John. When he's talking about Cowboy Bill Watts, he's talking about me, because that's my good buddy. He'll have to go through me in the ring, out of the ring, wherever he is. So I don't appreciate him saying anything against Cowboy Bill Watts, a gentleman through and through, and we don't need anybody like Jim Cornette doing those
I
things.
don't want that, boy. I just don't like the guy's looks, and I hate for anybody to sit around and brag about the money and about the mom this and the mom that. But you got to give him credit what credit's due. The guy's a good manager. He have himself one heck of a team.
He certainly does, as Condrey goes out and the legal man in now, Bobby Eaton.
You see, these guys they don't have a weak team working against themselves. I don't know Tommy Hagee that good, but I do know Brian Adidas, and he holds a great name for himself throughout the state of Texas, also here in the state of Louisiana and Mississippi, just about all the world. The guy he was a top-ranked heavyweight up there in the state of Arizona.
Well, he's proven to be a fine athlete. Right now he's taking the punishment from Dennis Condrey, but on the outside of the ring there is Mama's little boy, Jim Cornette, the guiding force behind the team of the Midnight Express.
Yeah. He gonna keep hollering and screaming about the Cowboy and several other people around there. He gonna start boiling water. That's exactly what that kid gonna do. This is guy Eaton, man. He's not that big, but his team is quick, man, and very fast. And the guys know exactly what they're doing, and they work teamwork, and that's what professionals wrestling all about, especially in a tag team match. You got to work as a team. If you work as an individual, then you're gonna lose it. And these guys work real close, boy.
They certainly do. Quickly in, quick out, keeping a fresh man in at all times. That makes a lot in tag team action, you know well.
I'm telling you. There's Mama's boy outside again, fanning his little baton.
Bobby Eaton catches one on Tommy Hagee. Slam, there he goes, 1-2 up on the second strand. There's the guiding force directing the traffic. Jim Cornette makes a motion.
Let me tell you something else, boy. I heard, and I seen too with the Todd and Feather Magnum TA. They whipped them with belts. They hit them in here with certain things. They made some small situation towards the dog about Todd and Feather. I mean, see, all that's doing is bringing up things that we have buried. And I do say, boy, and I do mean this, the only way they're Todd and Feather the dog, they have them 6 foot in the ground inside of a cold box with it nailed up.
That's the way to go. Jim Cornette always enticing, antagonizing almost all of his opponents, and that's what really makes the team great. Like I say, he's a manager. That's what he's hired to do.
But still, some things just don't be said, boy, because sometimes you have to let sleeping dogs laugh, you know what I mean?
That's what he needs to do, is manage, not talk about Mark Close or Bill Watts commentary.
That's it.
He should just manage. That's his job.
That's his job.
Midnight Express.
You have to give it to him. It's a team to be reckoned with.
They're a tremendous team. There's no doubt about that.
And I'm looking forward to it one day, boy. Maybe I get myself a partner, get a chance to go against this great team.
There comes the double team. Bobby Eaton, as he was being held by Dennis Condrey, holding Tommy Hagee. 1, 2, 3. And that's the win for the Midnight Express. We'll be back with the second round of Mid-South Tournament for the television champion after this word.
This next match on Mid-South Wrestling is one fall or television time remaining. And ladies and gentlemen, it is the second match in the $10,000 television tournament. In the red corner at 265 pounds from Nagasaki, Japan, Masayo Ito. And his opponent in the blue corner at 236 pounds from Lexington, Kentucky, Leaping Lanny Poffo.
The introduction of the second round of the Mid-South Championship television tournament. You see the crowd favorite, Leaping Lanny Poffo, as he's been introduced against the sadistic and cruel star from Japan, Masayo Ito.
You know, boy, I had the opportunity to watch this guy several times. Plus, I had the opportunity a couple of times to get in the ring with him myself. And the guys to be reckoned with, man. The guys use all type of martial art tactics and stuff. And it's one thing he got, boy, that I hope deep down inside, not only in the Mid-South, all over the world, they will bar sooner or later. It's that kick he used and that thing he used to the throat, which I can't even explain it, boy.
It's vicious, it's cruel, sadistic, like I said, and the winner of this match, Junkyard Dog, will face the winner of the first match, which was held last week in the tournament. That winner was Terry Taylor. He'll meet him 4 weeks from now on the 6th week of the tournament. Next week, you take on Russian Nikolai Volkov in the third round.
Oh, yes, I will. You know, you're talking about Terry Taylor. He's a good, upstanding young star that's coming in the Mid-South area, which I heard about Terry Taylor about a year or two ago. And the guy's making a name for himself, which it makes me proud, it makes any other American proud to see a guy like this come out and fight for his country and do the thing that he's trying to do.
It certainly does. Right now, the vicious, rugged star from the Orient, Masayo Ito, in a headlock by Leaping Lanny Poffo. So he's suffering the consequences now. Instead of being the aggressor, Poffo is showing him something that the Americans can do.
So you can't cut Lanny Poffo short. Leaping Lanny is a very agile type guy. He got a lot of different moves that he uses himself. Lanny been around for several years, and he knows his way in and out of that ring. But you have to be very careful with this guy. The guy's very vicious.
So much at stake. The beautiful medal, the prestige that goes with being the champion, and that means a lot of defenses that'll be coming along after the tournament is over, plus the $10,000 check. So a lot of interest.
It's a lot of hard work, boy, and a lot of sacrifices you have to put yourself through, which I know, and every other guy that knows that's trying to compete for this TV championship match. So you got to stick to one part of the body. You will watch a lot of guys that go up and down the body, up and down the body. But Saito, he's going straight on the leg. He's trying to hurt this man straight off the bat.
He's tried to hurt every opponent thus far since he's been in Mid-South, and he's completed the job on many occasions. So he was not about to let up on Leaping Lanny Poffo, who will have to give it all that he has.
Yeah, but you have to watch this guy, boy. I've been watching his matches. He uses reverse psychology. One night he work on the head, one night he might work on the middle section, but now he's working on Leaping Lanny's legs to take that man off his feet. Once he takes him off his feet, he got his spray right there laid out in his hand.
Well, that's what we said. Professional wrestling is the world's most exciting professional sport, and when you get in with someone, you have to either take it and give it out. That's what it is. Mid-South Wrestling is the greatest example of professional wrestling today, and you see it right now in that ring.
That's why I try to keep myself in tip-top shape, boy, because I'll more or less rather give something to receive, especially punishment.
The martial art, he used the elbow well on Lanny Poffo over in the far corner.
It's just very hard studying a guy like that, boy, because you don't know actually which way the guy's going to come at you.
Well, he can use his feet, he can use his hands, and like we saw, his elbow, all the facilities are at his command.
Oh, Leaping Lanny got him going now. Leaping Lanny got him going now. And it's ready for the U.S. of A. It's hard
Listen to the fans, Junkyard Dog.
It's hard
They're
to
going
sit in
crazy.
this seat, boy, because you get excited sitting there. I don't know how I used to even sit out here. Get with him, Leaping Lanny. Hey, just take it out for once. Well, 1 second.
Ito slashing away.
Well, he's taking it into Lanny now. Lanny took his eyes off the man for a split second. And that's all it takes to lose, boys, is a split second. It's best to keep both of your peekaboos on your opponent at all times.
On the 2 count, lacking one of a victory. Masayo Ito moving in.
Come on, Lanny, get with him, baby.
Strike one up for America. Did you see Lanny Poffo?
Strike up
A lot
another
of
one.
people might have counted him out. Here he comes over the top.
I'm telling
Right
you.
on top. 1-2. Almost a
Millie got
victory.
the 3 count there, boy. It's hard sitting in my seat, boy. Won't you keep the helmet now? Keep the
Oh, I get excited,
I'm
I tell
telling
you, because it's just a matter of inches in a lot of things, but then a matter of second. One more second, and he moved on up the ladder.
So here, this guy here from Japan trying to make a name for himself. You got the Volkov here from Russia. Now you got Darso following it. You got the Midnight Express. You got a lot of excitement in the Mid-South area, and everybody better film the P's and Q's. They might mess around and bring Bill Watts out of retirement. That manager keep talking about Bill Watts. You know, you got to always listen around. If you keep boiling water, then sooner or later you got to put somebody in that hot boiling water, right?
Right, Masao Ito there, dealing out the punishment to leaping Lanny Poffo, almost tearing his nostrils away from his face. Poffo down on the cement floor while in the ring. The crafty, there you see him smiling with that big, big grin that's so familiar with the Oriental wrestlers, Masao Ito. But here comes Poffo back in.
Oh, he's trying, boy. He's trying.
He's courageous, and he's not out of it. Poffo taking the attack to Ito. Referee Eric Johnson now starting the count over in the far corner.
You shouldn't let him breathe too much, boy. They should stay exactly on him. You guys down big, when a man down big, unless you try to hurt the dog, I'll go in and I'll try to take his head off, boy. That's the best thing to do. Stay on him. Be vicious. Nasty. Mark one up, boy, for US of A. The rope saved him again.
Poffo now letting it all out.
There you go, Poffo. There you go, Poffo. Give him some of his own.
You'll have to fight fire with fire, and Lanny Poffo realizes it at this stage. Ito, tremendous right. Ito having Poffo just the position that he wants him in, dog.
There's that kick.
You can't watch both hands and both feet and elbows at the same time. That's just something you cannot do. Masao Ito gains a victory in the second round of the television championship tournament. Means he'll meet Terry Taylor in 4 weeks from now and gains a victory. We'll be back, Mr. Wrestling 2 in action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This is our first standby match on Mid-South Wrestling. It has a 1 fall or television time remaining. In the red corner at 225 pounds from Huntsville, Alabama, Larry Santana. And his opponent standing in the blue corner, he weighs 239 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2.
Action continues now. The announcement by Jim Ross, Mr. Wrestling 2 versus Larry Santana. Pee Wee Anderson, the referee for this match. All the standby matches now will be 1 fall with the TV time remaining because all of the television matches for the Mid-South Television Championship are 1 fall with the TV time. Give plenty of time. No man can say I would have won that match if I'd had more time.
That's it, boy. You know, I love to watch Wrestling 2 wrestle. You know, the guy's got a lot on his mind, do the things that's been happening to him and Magnum TA. Not only have TA been tarred and feathered, they both was whipped, then he got hit in the head with something, some kind of object. But Mr. Wrestling 2 has a lot of things on his mind. We saw a lot of other guys in the Mid-South area trying to watch that Jim Cornette and that Midnight Express.
Mr. Wrestling 2, winner of so many, many matches in his great and varied career, against Larry Santana, who would like nothing better than to gain a victory on his way up. He's a youngster starting out, has a lot of good moves. We've seen him before, but he's in against a master craftsman, Mr. Wrestling 2, who's famous the world over, dog.
That's it, boy. And, you know, Wrestling 2 at once was called the champion of champions. This man couldn't only wrestle, he could teach us very, you know, as well. And all the youngsters always come up to Wrestling 2 as well, so is myself and Magnum TA. You know, always acting too for different things, different strategies, how to do this, do that. And the guy's the type guy will help you, you know. A lot of guys get on top of the world or try to, get ahead. They won't try to help nobody out. And Mr. Wrestling too is one of a kind.
Real fine man. In the ring, out of the ring. Now you've seen him back. Well, that's just the way professional wrestling. That's the way the rules are, Junkyard Dog. Move away from the man when he's into the rope, but you hardly ever see him back away without leaving that last-minute smack or chop or slash.
That's cheating. That's exactly what you need to call it, boy. Pure audacious cheating. And it shouldn't be even done. There's so many guys, they got to go this short way home, in other words. So there you go. So you never see the guy holler, punch a guy, digging a guy in the eyes, sticking him in the ropes, trying to choke with this thing. He used straight fundamental type wrestling. Which I can read it myself and try to learn it myself, but my style is different, boy. I'm a straight fighter. I wouldn't know a wrist lock from a chin lock. But I tell you what, when I get in there, I try to do it the best win.
Well, that's the name of the game, especially here on Mid-South. There you see the power knee.
That's it.
No way you can get set.
Try out the lights, baby. The party's over.
Oh, wait a minute. The Midnight Express in the ring now.
So that's what I'm talking about right now, boy.
They're ganging
Things like
up
this
on
always
Mr.
happen.
too. Gained
And
the
you got to
victory.
sit here. I got to sit here to see stuff like this take place. And it's hard, man. I don't know
Well,
what
he's
devil
taking
that's-
one. No, here comes Conry off on the outside Cornette. Isn't that awful?
That's a mess, man. I'm telling you.
All two, not two, but three now.
I wonder where his Magnum TA. He's probably in the back trying to sit down and go with fundamentals and learn about his tournament match coming up. But that's Mr. Wrestling. Hey, see what I'm talking about?
Now you see Cornette wanting to take the match. Wait a minute. Junkyard Dog has just left us, as you can see. Just couldn't restrain himself any longer. He's in the ring. Eaton is down, Conry is down, and Cornette is running for hide, and Magnum TA is in. The Dog lays one on Conry. There they go, the Midnight Express leaving out, so we'll be back right after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at ringside with the Junkyard Dog, and we want to talk to you, Junkyard Dog, today about your match next week in the television tournament against Nikolai Volkov.
Well, let's get the first of it, the matters at hand. I know it's going to cost me $2,500 to come up here and do what I had to do. But I ain't nowhere in the world I'm going to sit my hand in over there and watch stuff like this goes on, because I could be next in that tarred and feather. And Wrestling 2 is a friend of mine. And look here, I'm no rich man. I don't have no whole lot of money. I got a family home to feed. I got myself to feed. But $2,500, well, income tax man or whoever out there listening, I'm gonna pay this $2,500. If it calls again, I'll go borrow $2,500 and I'll do it again. Not that, I'll pawn this, I'll pawn that, I'll pawn that, I'll pawn my car.
Well, you got very strong feelings. They said some things to you, I know, that runs real deep.
Oh, yes, they gonna tar and feather me. My ancestor had something to do with this and that. You let sleeping dogs lie. When you start talking about tar and feather me, hanging me and doing this, then you digging up stuff that happened years and years ago, and I don't like it. $2,500, like I said, it's a lot of money, baby. But I'm gonna pay it, and if I have to do it again, I'll do it again, not getting back to Nikolai Volkov.
Next week, $10,000 on the line to the winner eventually in this tournament.
I need that money like a hog needs slop right now. That'll be money I can pay for this. And I'm gonna wrestle Nikolai Volkov, whether it's here or anywhere else, man. But I'm telling you, man, I'm all upset because I just can't sit by and see stuff like this happen.
Well, of course, the people here are very excited. Remember, it's going to happen right here next week.
See what I'm talking about now?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, off camera,
I'm not gonna turn my back so no rest at it.
Crusher Darsow and Nikolai Volkov are now coming to ringside. Now, wait a minute. We have time blocked out for the Junkyard Dog. Wait just a minute. This match is not scheduled, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking to the Junkyard Dog here at ringside. Well, I'm going to throw it back to Boyd Pierce right now.
Well, Jim, the match supposed to be Joseph Boldy versus Nature Boy Buddy Landell. Next week in the tournament match, it's Junkyard Dog against Nikolai Volkov, but here comes Terry Taylor in now. He's handling Crusher Darso, and in the ring, the Junkyard Dog really pummeling away on Nikolai Volkov. Masao Ito coming in past the referees. All three referees are at the ring. There you see the kick. Masao Ito really thrust the kick to the throat of the Junkyard Dog. Terry Taylor and Crusher Darso on the outside of the ring and inside. Here comes Joe Savoli. Masao Ito really caught Savoli. Landell, who's supposed to be in the ring with Savoli. There he has him into that corner turn post, into that steel corner turn post. All the melee is breaking loose. Everybody in the ring or out of the ring is something that you hardly ever see, and we'll have to get some kind of restoration of order here. While we do, we'll pause for this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This is tag team wrestling, one fall or television time remaining. In the red corner, at 313 pounds from Moscow, Russia, Nikolai Volkov. And his partner at 303 pounds from Minnesota, Crusher Darso. Their opponents in the blue corner at 222 pounds from Tampa, Florida, John King. And his partner at 236 pounds from Indianapolis, George Weingroff. Ladies and gentlemen, Nikolai Volkov requests before each of his matches that he sing the Russian national anthem. They also request that you stand up. Of course, that is your prerogative.
Look at that, they have no class.
There you have it, the Russian national anthem sung by Nikolai Volkov. I'll tell you, I've been on Mid-South Wrestling as a host ever since its inception, but two things are really getting to me now, and that's a turncoat to his country like Crusher Darso and an arrogant young punk by the name of Jim Cornette that's throwing those words around loosely, and I don't like. There he goes! George Weingroff with a flying drop kick. Really going to town on Crusher Darso, who turned his back on America, and the camaraderie now he has with Nikolai Volkov. Well, I lost my guest commentator as Junkyard Dog could not stand it anymore, but Jim Ross has moved into our seat here with us, Jim.
Boy, it's great to be with you as usual here on Mid-South Wrestling, and we've got a great tag team match that matchmaker Grizzly Smith has signed here for Mid-South Wrestling between the Russian Alliance, and of course, everyone that has been here during this hour has seen what has transpired.
Jim, we want to tell the folks that 3 weeks from now, the 5th week of the Mid-South Championship television tournament, Crusher Darso takes on Magnum TA, and next week the tournament bout will be Nikolai Volkov against the Junkyard Dog.
And Boyd, I tell you what, for all the fans, if you mark a date on your calendar not to miss Mid-South Wrestling, of course, we are so proud that they're with us every week, but one week that you don't want to miss is right here next week, because the Junkyard Dog will get his chance against Nikolai Volkov. And Boyd, when the dog gets fired up, and he is that way now, of course, he's in a bad situation, but he will be ready next week, we hope.
Well, this match is going now. It's supposed to be Joe Savoli against Nature Boy Buddy Landell, but the ensuing melee we saw earlier when everybody was involved on the outside of the ring, we saw him Pearl Harbored. Joe Savoli was Pearl Harbored by Buddy Landell and driven into that steel ring post, so there's no way he was in the capacity to wrestle. So now we have the tag team match in the ring.
And there's a real mismatch in the ring now because George Weingroff has been thrown out of the ring to the concrete, and young John King is in there against a very powerful 303-pound man in Crusher Darsow. Darsow, body slam. Boy, I tell you what, he's trying to drive him right through the mat. Darsow is a man without a country. He's a very dangerous individual, Boyd.
He certainly is, and head first into the big shoe of Nikolai Volkov was the head of John King. They're really double teaming on him now, moving in and out, keeping the fresh man in, something that King is unable to tag his partner George Weingroff on the far side.
Back in comes Crusher Darsow, and they are really taking the measure of John King. King not only is at an experience disadvantage, but he's also at a size disadvantage, and it's not going to make any difference in that hole, Boyd.
There we see the power of Crusher Darsow and Nikolai Volkov bore them down. John King yielded up a victory to the Russian and his American counterpart, Turncoat. We'll be back with more action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This is your fourth standby match today on Mid-South Wrestling. One fall or television time remaining. In the red corner, at 290 pounds from Reno, Nevada, Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Look at that!
And in the blue corner, his opponent, he weighs 229 pounds from Florida, Jerry Gray.
Dressed in the black trunks. There you see him strutting around from Florida, Jerry Gray against Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Pee Wee Anderson calls for the bell. 2 weeks from today on Mid-South Wrestling, Jim the Anvil Neidhart takes on Hacksaw Butch Reed in the fourth round of the Mid-South Championship television tournament. So Jim Neidhart versus Hacksaw Butch Reed in 2 weeks. Right now he's in the ring against Jerry Gray, who's scraping across those eyes.
Well, Boyd, we've got two men here that neither one like to obey the rules, so it's going to be pretty much anything goes, and referee Pee Wee Anderson will certainly have his hands full trying to maintain some sort of law and order during this match.
Jim Ross is getting where a lot of men don't like to obey those rules. A lot of antagonistic, a lot of intimidation going on, and one of these days somebody's going to turn Jim Cornette into an omelet.
Well, I tell you what, boy, there's a lot of people, I'm sure. I heard him make some comments about Cowboy Bill Watts that I certainly thought were very derogatory and very uncalled for. And also, he's made comments about everybody. He's made comments to you, he's made comments to me, anybody within an earshot. But right here's the man in the ring right now, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, that is certainly on a collision course with Hacksaw Butch Reed. Of course, Neidhart's very proud of his athletic background, and indeed he should be, playing for the Dallas Cowboys and the Oakland Raiders, and being one of the top shot putters in the world. Jerry Gray trying to utilize his quickness, and perhaps he has the quickness advantage over Neidhart, but at this point in time, that quickness advantage, Boyd, is not really putting any money in the bank for him.
No, because Neidhart, like so many now, Crusher Darsow, Volkov, Junkyard Dog, they have the power behind them, Jim.
Well, Boyd, I have refereed some matches that Jim the Anvil Neidhart has participated in. I don't think I can ever remember seeing a more brutal individual as far as a physical man that really has a tremendous tolerance for pain. He can take a tremendous amount of punishment, and he loves to dish it out. There's that clothesline. As we've said many times, it's been outlawed in the National Football League, but not right here on Mid-South Wrestling, and now he's got him up for the coup de grace, and I've never seen anyone get up from that maneuver, Boyd.
No, and you didn't see Jerry Gray get up a victory for the Anvil Jim Neidhart. We have time remaining. We'll have Terry Taylor versus Tom Lentz when we return after this word.
This is your fifth standby match today on Mid-South Wrestling. One fall or television time remaining. In the red corner, weighing 275 pounds from Black Hills, South Dakota, Tom Lentz. And his opponent, standing in the blue corner, weighing 230 pounds from Vero Beach, Florida, Terry Taylor.
Now you hear the accolades. The young lady's heartthrob and a terrific wrestler inside that ring, Terry Taylor, dressed in red against the rugged Tom Lentz. Carl Fergie is your referee, the 5th standby match on this week's great card. Terry Taylor really showing us some moves since he arrived on the Mid-South scene some 3 to 4 weeks ago. Now in the grasp of a side headlock by Tom Lentz.
Well, boy, Tom Lentz is a real powerful man, 275 pounds. But he's in there against a young man that has really set the Mid-South wrestling area on fire. We've got another packed house here at the Irish McNeil's Boys Club, and people are standing. They've had to add more chairs. It's just a tremendous crowd here, and wrestling all through the Mid-South area is arriving at a fever pitch because there's so many things going on. There's so many exciting matches that the people can see. And right here's another indication of that with a great young star in Terry Taylor against a big, rough, tough man in Tom Lentz.
Well, Jim, as far as that's concerned, as our Mid-South Television Championship Tournament continues in the 6th week, which is 4 weeks from now, you're going to see Terry Taylor take on the winner of this week's match, and we already had that match, which was Masayo Ito. So a lot of interesting things coming up before the $10,000 and a beautiful medal goes to the winner of this tournament.
Well, boy, I'd like to say this about the television tournament. As we watch Terry Taylor go after it with Tom Lentz, when you are on the #1 wrestling television program in the United States, or in the world for that matter, because Mid-South Wrestling is seen all over the world, and you can become the first television champion, plus put $10,000 in your pocket, the men are really going for broke. We saw that today. Masayo Ito won his match. Of course, the Junkyard Dog has Nikolai Volkov next week, and as you said, in just a few weeks, Terry Taylor will be going against the Japanese Masayo Ito, who has yet to be defeated here on Mid-South Wrestling. Terry Taylor firing right back on a rugged Tom Lentz. Taylor with that elbow right to the jaw. And Tom Lentz has really been rocked by Terry Taylor. And there's that forearm. Terry Taylor with that explosive forearm. 1, 2, 3. Terry Taylor's the winner.
Terry Taylor is a winner with that explosive forearm. And we want to tell you that we have something real interesting coming up for you now. It's the Rock and Roll Express with the music of Beautiful Girls and Van Halen. So let's watch and listen to it right now.
She was a seaside sitting, just smoking and a drinking on ringside, on top of the world, oh yeah. She had a drink in her hand, she had her toes in the sand, oh wow, what a beautiful girl, ah yeah. One sweet talking honey with a little bit of money, so turn your head around. Creeps from the sea with the looks to me like she liked to fool around. What a snappy little mammy, gonna keep her pappy happy and accompany me to the ends of the earth. Ah, yeah. So I said, here I am, they know, man of the world knows. All I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah. Beautiful girls. Come here, honey, come on. Well, I'm a bum in the sun and I'm having fun, and I know you know I got no special plans. Special plans. All the bills are paid, I got it made in the shade, and all I need is the woman. Understand? What a sweet talking honey with a little bit of money, she throwing your head around. A creature from the sea with the looks to me like she liked to fool around. Here I am, they know, man of the world knows. All I need is a beautiful girl. Ah, yeah, beautiful girl. Oh, come this way, baby.
Wrestling fans, as you can see right here, the Mid-South Wrestling Television TV tournament for $10,000. See how the bracket is progressing now. We had another winner today on the tournament. Masayo Ito defeated Leaping Lanny Poffo, and now Masayo Ito will go against Terry Taylor as this tournament progresses here on Mid-South Wrestling. Next week, one of the great matches you'll see on this tournament will be the next round, and that'll be the Junkyard Dog as he battles Nikolai Volkov in the tournament. Also, in future weeks, you'll see some tremendous matches like Crusher Darsow. He'll be going against Magnum TA. Also, you'll see such tremendous matches as Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Hacksaw Butch Reed going head-to-head in the tournament. Remember, the tournament not only carries a great deal of prestige, being the television champion on the #1 wrestling television program in America, but also a check. And you can see that check and the beautiful medal that will be presented to the winner, and a check. The check right here in the corner for $10,000 that goes to the winner. $10,000 and this beautiful medal. Boyd Pierce, I know, has some exciting things to tell you about next week's program, and let's go back to Boyd.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for bringing us up to date on the tournament as it progresses. Next week, the third round, the Junkyard Dog versus Russian Nikolai Volkov. The popular girl wrestlers will be here. Wendy Richter versus Princess Victoria. So I know Oral Link has some pictures of those that he'd like to show you as our producer and director, and you'll be looking forward to seeing that. Live and in person next week on Mid-South Wrestling, the Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson and Ricky Martin. It's been outstanding wrestling in the ring and out of the ring, a lot of excitement. It's about taking my voice. It's taking my opening guest commentator, the Junkyard Dog, out. Jim Ross filled in for the later part. Our producer, engineer, and director, Oral Link, engineer John Stokely, our cameramen this week, Paul White and Ricky Cottingham, and you, the most famous of all, and one we depend on at home, the fans. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and join us next week on this same television station for Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action coming up as we move into the third round of the Mid-South Television Tournament. Remember, $10,000 and a beautiful medal to the winner at the culmination of this tournament. This week's match, the Junkyard Dog takes on Russian Nikolai Volkov. The Mid-South Tag Team Champions will be in action. That's Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA. Also, the Rock and Roll Express makes their debut here this week, Robert Gibson and Ricky Martin, and we'll see another team form this week as Hacksaw Butch Reed teams up with Nature Boy Buddy Landell. Cowboy Bill Watts unable to be with us this week. He has been visiting with his close friends of Von Erich family in Dallas and attended the funeral of David Von Erich, the outstanding wrestler and fine young athlete who passed away in Japan. But taking his place, his associate from Bixby, Oklahoma, Jim Ross.
Boyd, thank you, and it's great to be here. Sorry Cowboy Bill Watts couldn't be here. I'll try to do the very best I can. I'd like to update everybody as quickly as we possibly can here on our big television tournament. $10,000 and a beautiful medal, as Boyd Pierce mentioned, goes to the winner. Today we're going to see a tremendous match between the Junkyard Dog and Nikolai Volkov. That will happen here today. That's, of course, our television main event, and we will update you on further progress in the tournament, some of the possible matchups as this hour progresses. But we've got a great match in the ring. We also promised you, ladies and gentlemen, here last week that we would have girl wrestlers on this card. Their plane has been delayed. The planes coming from different parts of the country with the weather and so forth in the north has delayed their arrival, but we will have them here, Boyd, next week. But right now we've got a great match standing by in the ring. Let's go to Reeser Bowden for the introductions.
This is a non-title tag team event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 275 pounds from South Dakota, Tom Lentz. And his partner at 227 pounds from Orlando, Florida, Jerry Gray. And in the blue corner, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. At 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2. And his partner at 238 pounds from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Magnum TA.
Tag team action now, one fall or 10-minute time limit. In the ring is Jerry Gray, and on the outside his partner, the larger of the two, Tom Lentz, as they take on the Mid-South Tag Team title holders, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA. Your referee giving the instructions in the center ring is Carl Fergie. All four men in the ring now. He says, give me one representing the team, and it's Magnum TA against Jerry Gray and Jim Ross.
Thanks a lot, Boyd. Magnum TA, Mr. Wrestling 2, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, one of the finest working tag teams that has ever been in the Mid-South area, going against two men here that certainly want to make a name for themselves here on national television. Nice hip toss by Magnum TA. Arm drag takedown of Magnum TA, who has become a tremendous performer in the ring, a legitimate superstar in professional wrestling. And I know from talking to Bill Watts and to Grizzly Smith, the matchmaker from Mid-South, that Magnum TA is in demand all over the country. And here's a man that has been a main eventer all over the country and continues to be so, Mr. Wrestling 2, the coach of Magnum TA. And he has brought this young man from a young individual with a great deal of raw talent to the heights of professional wrestling. Mr. Wrestling 2, the coach, the tutor of Magnum TA, took him under his wing and has just perfected his skills and his God-given talent to quite a talented individual in the ring. Another tag was made, quick tags in and out. Drop kick by Magnum TA. Magnum TA shooting those forearms, and Tom Lentz started to come in and get involved in the action illegally, but it didn't work out. Magnum TA with that tremendous strength and a powerful body slam. He's down for the count, 1-2. Carl Fergie with a 2 count. Carl Fergie, the senior referee in the Mid-South area, having the responsibilities to maintain law and order in this match. Mr. Wrestling 2 dropping in underneath that arm and elevating Jerry Gray. And Gray was in a pinning predicament there. Mr. Wrestling 2, very knowledgeable. Boyd, you've been around Mr. Wrestling 2 a long time. He takes no shortcuts, no wasted movement. He's always looking for that pinfall.
Makes it all count, and that power knee is dangerous, and leave the mask alone.
Big, rugged, 275-pound Tom Lentz has stepped into a wasp nest. Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 working like the well-oiled machine that they are. Lentz raking across the eyes. Lentz has seen that evidently he cannot match hole for hole with Magnum TA or Mr. Wrestling 2 and trying to take some shortcuts. But Magnum TA coming right back, elevating Jerry Gray. Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA with that belly-to-belly suplex, and that should be all she wrote, and it is. Another victory for Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Well, wrestling fans, you know, it's great to see Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA working as closely as they do without any friction. And that may sound a little bit unusual, Boyd, because I'm sure a lot of the fans have no way of knowing some things that have gone on just the past few weeks. Last week, in fact, in New Orleans at the beautiful Lakefront Arena, a tremendous crowd was there for another great wrestling event. And Cowboy Bill Watts was in the dressing room interviewing the Junkyard Dog. As all the fans remember, here last week, the Junkyard Dog was here as your guest commentator. He left the commentating area, entered some action in the ring. It cost him $2,500. Well, Grizzly Smith made an announcement during that interview. A lot of things transpired. Let's play that interview now. It happened in New Orleans, and let's go to Cowboy Bill Watts there.
We're in the dressing room at UNO at the Lakefront. I'm going to be talking to JYD about the incident that happened at Mid-South taping last week when he was the guest commentator and, of course, got fined. Right now he's warming up for a match later in the evening, and everybody's 57 he's at. 60. That's getting you fired up.
Yeah, get the old body to chicken.
Get it right.
Yeah,
while Magnum's doing some push-ups, JY, I saw the films of what happened last week, and boy, I've been out there in that seat so many times, and you want to help your friends, but Mid-South has an established rule and regulation, and you can't, but it's tough for you to be the North American champion and be out there and be a guest commentator.
I don't see how you done it all these years, Bill, sitting around out there, being involved like you was, and the things you did and the people you had to go against. And you know what, I face each and every day, top competitions throughout all the world. And I just can't sit around and see stuff like that happen. I know they got hit with a heavy fine, and I don't have no whole lot of money, but that's one fine I will pay.
How's Magnum? Where's he at? How many's he got? He's pumping them out.
That pretty little young thing getting on up there. He's getting wild, too.
Well, you know, like I say, I just think it's hard for a guy like you, and with everybody shooting at you, it's hard for you to be sitting out there because...
Well, pardon me for interrupting you, but I've just been talking to Charlie Lay, and I've got a message from him and the board of directors, Mid-South. They've changed the rankings. They got the new rankings on the North American title contender. Magnum TA, let me be the first to congratulate you. You're the #1 contender for the North American title.
Hey, fantastic.
My gosh, what a dream come true.
You'll be getting a title match before long.
Good. That's what all this work's been.
That's what mean everybody will be shooting for you, baby. And it's just you and I. I know you're young, you're pretty, and you look good, baby. But in that ring, it's got to be business.
Yeah, but we know one thing. whatever it is, it'll all be on the up and up.
Oh yeah, I know it's gonna be everything gonna be on up and
I
up.
think the fans will be looking forward to it. You know,
I'm gonna look forward to it myself.
You promised him a title shot.
Oh, I promised it to him. I told him I said, man, you stand there and work hard. Listen to that wrestling too.
It is. And you've been putting me through. It's paid off. Right here, I'm gonna get my shot.
You ought to really be proud of this kid. This is what it's all about. You've got him right.
No more fools to deal with.
I think it stinks. And I'll tell you why I think it stinks. You know, I told you before when I came in here, I was going to train this man and make a man out of him. Yeah, he held the title at one time with Dog's help. And a week later, overconfident or whatever you want to call, he kind of felt like he had it all down and ended up losing it. You know, I held the title at one time. And I told you also that I'd train this man and make a man out of him, and yet it would not interfere with my career. You understand?
Well, just a minute. You know, your whole object's been to get him ready to take on anybody, and certainly the North American champion's the epitome of that. This doesn't mean the Mid-South has passed you by. It just means he's got the next match coming up.
Yes, it doesn't mean they passed me by. They went right on by me, and I don't like it, and I still think it stinks.
We're very privileged to have the Mid-South cameras behind the scenes at the Lakefront Arena with Cowboy Bill Watts there. And, of course, you know, the great news is that Magnum TA, the board of directors of the Mid-South Wrestling, have elevated him to the #1 contender for the Mid-South, or for the North American Championship. That obviously means that he will get the next available Mid-South or North American title match with the Junkyard Dog. Mr. Wrestling 2 is not real happy about that. He thought he should be the #1 contender, and maybe things have kind of passed him by. Hopefully this will all will blow over, let's say, Boyd. But Bill Watts did talk to them again, and we'll see that later in this hour. But right now, let's pause for this word for the Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. Well, wrestling fans, we kept our cameras back in the dressing room area on that momentum, you know, that tremendous night in New Orleans at the Lakefront Arena. Cowboy Bill Watts had an interview with Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA. Now, this happened after Grizzly Smith came in and talked about the ratings, the rankings. We've seen that piece of film. But Bill Watts interviewed Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA right before they went into the match for their big match that night. And let's listen to their comments at this time.
Well, I'll tell you, you flabbergasted me. You left me speechless, and I'm very seldom without a word, but I thought you would be one of the first to congratulate this man. This was seemingly the whole goal, that you came to be his coach, that you were going to teach him, that you were going to improve him. You said he didn't have enough intensity, and he's got it all in Mid-South, and all the promoters have recognized it, and they made him the #1 contender for a title shot, a North American title shot, and you're upset about it. And I've got to ask you again, why?
Why shouldn't I be upset? They're bypassing me. They shoved me to the side. They're giving him the opportunity. I don't think it's right.
Now, wait a minute. They said he's #1 in line for the shot. They haven't said that you don't get the opportunity. You're a Mid-South Tag Team Champions. You guys have got to defend those titles. Do you think there's some conspiracy or there's some reason why Mid-South is passing you up?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Junkyard Dog, first of all, knows he can beat this man. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, that's the way he feels and that's the way he thinks. And as far as I'm concerned, Junkyard Dog knows that Wrestling 2 can defeat him. Can defeat him fair and square, where there's no crying, there's no bellowing one way or the other. The man knows that I can beat him fair and square, and I won't take the title away from him. It's that simple. He knows this. I can beat this man. I've taught him everything he knows. Not everything I know.
You know, too, there's no competition between you and I. Gosh, you've taught me everything. You brought me to where I am today. I don't ever want to have to wrestle you. I just want us to go on like we have. You be helping me, be my coach, do all the things we've done. I want to continue to progress. I don't want to be going backwards.
Well, let me ask you something. You guys are Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Is this going to create a problem in you all defending those titles?
No, no problem. No problem at all. He knows who the boss is. I give him the opportunity to go out and make all lovey-dovey with the girls. That's fine. But he knows who the boss is, and that's me. Problem. But I still think it stinks that he gets the chance at that title, and I don't. It's that simple.
Well, it's quite obvious that Mr. Wrestling 2 is very unhappy with the rankings, the way that the Mid-South Board of Directors have ranked the wrestlers. Now with Magnum TA being the #1 wrestler, he feels like the #1 contender, let's say. He feels threatened perhaps that his career is being passed by, and that's certainly not the case because he's not been eliminated from title consideration. The Junkyard Dog, Magnum TA, and Mr. Wrestling 2 are all champions. The Junkyard Dog, the North American champion, and Magnum TA and 2, of course, the Mid-South Tag Team champions. They've been through a lot together, and they've suffered together, and they've stepped beyond the call of what true friendship would be. And let's play some videotape from last week right here. Mr. Wrestling 2 was involved in the match. The Midnight Express came to the ring and tried to unmask him, and let's watch that footage and join that match in progress.
Trying to choke with this thing. He used straight fundamental type wrestling. Which I can read it myself and try to learn it myself, but my style is different, boy. I'm a straight fighter. I wouldn't know a wrist lock from a chin lock. But I tell you what, when I get in there, I try to do it the best win.
Well, that's the name of the game, especially here on Mid-South. There you see the power knee.
That's it.
No way you can get set.
Try out the lights, baby. The party's over.
Wait a minute. The Midnight Express in the ring now.
So that's what I'm talking about right now, boy.
They're ganging
Things
up
like this
on Mr.
always
Wrestling
happen.
2. Gained
And
a
you got to
victory.
sit here. I got to sit here to see stuff like this take place. And it's hard, man. I don't know what
He's taking one. No, here comes Condrey off on the outside cornet. Isn't that awful?
That's a mess, man. I'm telling you.
All two, not two, but three now.
I wonder where his Magnum TA. He's probably in the back trying to sit down and go with fundamentals and learn about his tournament match coming up. But that's Mr. Wrestling. Hey, see what I'm talking about?
Now you see Cornette wanting to take the match. Wait a minute. Junkyard Dog has just left us, as you can see. This couldn't restrain himself any longer. He's in the ring. Eaton is down, Condrey is down, and Cornette is running for hide, and Magnum TA is in. The Dog lays one on Condrey. There they go, the Midnight Express leaving out.
It's very clear that Magnum TA and the Junkyard Dog are friends, and I think we could all say are still friends of Mr. Wrestling 2. He's Mr. Wrestling 2, a very competitive individual. They went to his aid. But later in that hour, I had the privilege of interviewing the Junkyard Dog. And during that confrontation, the Crusher Darsow, Nikolai Volkov came to ringside and challenged the Junkyard Dog, and then the mysterious Japanese man came on the scene. The Junkyard Dog, obviously a target, the #1 man. Let's look at that footage right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at ringside with the Junkyard Dog, and we want to talk to you, Junkyard Dog, today about your match next week in the television tournament against Nikolai Volkov.
Well, let's get the first of it, the matters at hand. I know it's going to cost me $2,500 to come up here and do what I had to do. But I ain't nowhere in the world I'm going to sit my hind end over there and watch stuff like this goes on, because I could be next in that tarred and feather. And Wrestling 2 is a friend of mine. And look here, I'm no rich man. I don't have no whole lot of money. I got a family home to feed. I got myself to feed. But $2,500, well, income tax man or whoever out there listening, I'm going to pay this $2,500. And if it calls it again, I'll go borrow $2,500 and I'll do it again. Not that, I'll pawn this, I'll pawn that, I'll pawn that, I'll pawn my car.
Well, you got very strong feelings. They said some things to you, I know, that runs real deep.
Oh, yes, they going to tar and feather me. My ancestor had something to do with this and that. You let sleeping dogs lie. When you start talking about tar and feather me, hanging me and doing this, then you digging up stuff that happened years and years ago, and I don't like it. $2,500, like I said, it's a lot of money, baby. But I'm going to pay it, and if I have to do it again, I'll do it again, not getting back to Nikolai Volkov.
Next week, $10,000 on the line to the winner eventually in this tournament.
I need that money like a hog needs slop right now. That'll be money I can pay for this. And I'm going to wrestle Nikolai Volkov, whether it's here or anywhere else, man. But I'm telling you, man, I'm all upset because I just can't sit by and see stuff like this happen.
Well, of course, the people here are very excited. Remember, it's going to happen right here next week.
See what I'm talking about now?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, off camera,
I'm not going to turn my back so no more rest at it.
Crusher Darsow and Nikolai Volkov are now coming to ringside. Now, wait a minute. We have time blocked out for the Junkyard Dog. Wait just a minute. This match is not scheduled, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking to the Junkyard Dog here at ringside. Well, I'm going to throw it back to Boyd Pierce right now.
Well, Jim, the match is supposed to be Joseph Boldy versus Nature Boy Buddy Landell next week. In the tournament match, it's Junkyard Dog against Nikolai Volkov, but here comes Terry Taylor in now. He's handling Crusher Darsow, and in the ring, the Junkyard Dog. really pummeling away on Nikolai Volkov. Masao Ito coming in past the referees. All three referees are at the ring. There you see the kick. Masao Ito really thrust the kick to the throat of the Junkyard Dog. Terry Taylor and Crusher Darso on the outside of the ring and inside. Here comes Joe Savoli. Masao Ito really caught Savoli. Landell, who's supposed to be in the ring with Savoli. There he had him into that corner turn post, into that steel corner turn post. All the melee is breaking loose. Everybody in the ring or out of the ring is something that you hardly ever see, and we'll have to get some kind of restoration of order here.
Just as in any sport, whether it be football, basketball, boxing, anything, when you're the number one man, when you're the champion, everybody wants a shot at you, no matter who it is, friend and foe alike. The Junkyard Dog, being the North American champion, and perhaps the greatest North American champion of all time, is definitely a target. And we'll see the Junkyard Dog against Nikolai Volkov in our next TV tournament match right after this word from the Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third week in the big Mid-South Television Wrestling Tournament. And this event tonight, through a process of elimination, will eventually determine the Mid-South Television Champion. This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 313 pounds from Moscow, Russia, Nikolai Volkov. And Mr. Volkov has requested that he be allowed to sing the national anthem of Russia. He's also requested that the audience stand while he's doing so. And at 296 pounds, the Junkyard Dog.
As we move into the third round of the prestigious Mid-South Television Tournament match, the Junkyard Dog, who's in the ring, chain and all, against the Russian Nikolai Volkov, who's on the outside of the ring, talking to his cohort and the defector, Crusher Darso. Terry Taylor now coming into the ring, Jim.
Yes, he is. He certainly is, Boyd. And, of course, Carl Fergie, referee Carl Fergie, who has not assigned this match but is the chief of the Mid-South officials, is trying to get Terry Taylor and Crusher Darso out of the ring so this match can proceed. This third match, indeed, of the Mid-South Television Tournament. Carl Fergie exhorting Terry Taylor and Crusher Darso to get out of the ring. They've taken the chain away from the Junkyard Dog. Both men are stalking. As of yet, we have not had the bell. They're trying to get everybody can have an even break here. But Darso has handed the rope, that hangman's rope. He's handed it to Volkov, and Volkov, Terry Taylor has taken the rope away from Volkov, and there's the bell, and the Junkyard Dog's exploding on Nikolai Volkov. The Junkyard Dog has got Volkov up for that big thump. Referee's counting 1, 2, and 3. The Junkyard Dog has defeated Nikolai Volkov. The Junkyard Dog has defeated Nikolai Volkov in record fashion and eliminated Nikolai Volkov from from competition in this tournament. The Junkyard Dog victorious.
And moves on up into the Farmers of the Ladder. The Junkyard Dog winner of the third week, and we'll be back with more action after this word from our sponsor.
We've seen a lot of excitement here on Mid-South Wrestling today, and we're going to see some more right now. The Rock and Roll Express will be here with us live momentarily, but right now, let's look at a special piece on the Rock and Roll Express.
It's tag team action now for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 227 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Dale Veazey. And his partner at 226 pounds from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Pat Rose. And coming into the ring now, a very popular team, the Rock and Roll Express.
Now you have it, action underway. The Rock and Roll Express making their debut here on Mid-South, and what a way to come in. The men were grasping and clapping, and the women were swooning, Jim Ross.
Well, the crowd standing here, I guarantee that's one of the most exciting teams ever to come to the Mid-South area. We've seen a lot of videotape on the Rock and Roll Express. Robert Gibson in the ring against Pat Rose, and of course Robert Gibson's partner, Ricky Morton. The Rock and Roll Express, and they're on fire here on Mid-South Wrestling. A high head scissors, arm drag takedown, and Gibson and Morton are really taking over on this team right from the outset. You saw Gibson leapfrog over that rope and really nail Rose with that drop kick. And now Morton's got him pinned. He had him pinned for a 2 count. Lightning quick arm drag takedown. Boy, I tell you what, Ricky Morton's quicker than a hiccup, boy.
Things are picking up now. Ricky Morton in the ring against Pat Rose, while on the outside their respective partners, Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, and in the long white tights, Pat Rose's partner, Dale Veazey.
Morton elevating Pat Rose, and Rose has made the tag. Rose has made the tag, and in comes Dale Veazey. He comes to us from Atlanta, Georgia, another hotbed of wrestling. And Veazey now backing Morton into the corner, but Morton fires right back. Ricky Morton exploding on Dale Veazey, the tag is made. Double drop kick. A double drop kick. They almost tore Veazey's head off, and there's the winner.
A tremendous maneuver of teamwork. The Rock and Roll Express gained a victory here in their first match. The fans, as they came in, gave them a standing ovation, a tremendous performance, and we'll be back with more action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 265 pounds from Nagasaki, Japan, Masayo Ito. And in the blue corner at 232 pounds from St. Petersburg, Florida, John King.
Masayo Ito, the Oriental Star, shedding his wooden shoes against John King now, who's taken off his jacket in the far corner. Eric Johnson, the referee, calls for the bell. Now this is one fall, TV time remaining, as all the matches will be now. They're standby matches because the Mid-South Television Tournament bouts are always one fall with TV time remaining to give them plenty of time. So all of our matches will be standby now, Jim.
Well, Masayo Ito, a victor in our tournament, and in the 6th week he'll go against Terry Taylor, and thus far Ito has been undefeated here on Mid-South Wrestling. And speaking of the Mid-South tournament, I'll tell you what, there's two men that have Russian allegiance. They're boiling right now. They left the ring boiling because any way you look at it, Nikolai Volkov has been eliminated by the Junkyard Dog from this tournament. In a tremendous match that took my breath. Boy, I didn't really know what to say. We didn't have a lot of time to say anything. The Junkyard Dog really turned it on, and the Nikolai Volkov has been eliminated. But this man, Masayo Ito, a very mysterious Japanese man. We don't know a great deal about his background except that he is one tough customer. He has been undefeated here on Mid-South Wrestling and has really walked through some tough competition. Those tremendous karate maneuvers, his hands and his feet are lethal weapons. That thrust kick that he exercises with his feet is one of the most devastating maneuvers I've ever seen personally, and since I've been around professional wrestling in the past 10 years or so. So Ito is in there against a young man, John King, who has a lot of heart, but Ito with that tremendous chop, and Ito trying to make short work of John King, and he does it.
Masayo Ito racks another victory to his Mid-South. Now coming up next now, tag team action, Hacksaw Butch Reed and Nature Boy Buddy Landell taking on Leaping Lanny Poffo and George Weingroff right after this word.
It's tag team action now. One fall, remaining television time. In the red corner, at 260 pounds from Kansas City, Missouri, Hacksaw Butch Reed. And his partner at 238 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Nature Boy Buddy Landell. In the blue corner at 237 pounds from Lexington, Kentucky, Leaping Lanny Poffo. And his partner at 238 pounds from Indianapolis, Indiana, George Weingroff.
It is tag team action, and what a tag team foursome, two on each side, and who would have thought? Hacksaw Butch Reed now taking on a new partner, Nature Boy Buddy Landell, against the popular duo of Leaping Lanny Poffo, who's in the ring, and his partner outside, the courageous George Weingroff.
Well, it should be a great tag team encounter indeed. Leaping Lanny Poffo with 1,000,001 moves going against the very arrogant Buddy Landell. And Lanny Poffo, who exercises moves that I've never seen anyone duplicate. He tags in George Weingroff with a tremendous amateur background. And I'll tell you something, boy, at this point in time, and not to take anything away from this match, but I want to salute the number 2 son of Cowboy Bill Watts, Eric Watts, who just won the Arkansas Valley Junior High Heavyweight Wrestling Championship with a 17-2 record. And the thing that makes that really unique is the fact that Eric also plays basketball on one night, wrestles the next, averaged 15 points in basketball, and he's going to be a tremendous athlete in any sport that he chooses. I had to say that because I've seen the young man grow and mature, and he's just going to be a tremendous athlete.
Right, Jim, and he already is a tremendous young athlete and just such a fine person.
He certainly is. And I'll tell you what, speaking of fine person, you won't find him in the red corner. Hacksaw Butch Reed and Buddy, Nature Boy, Buddy Landell, as he likes to be called. George Weingroff has really taken it to Hacksaw Butch Reed. And I don't know if Reed and Landell came to this ring overconfident. I know that they have very big inflated egos, but if they came overconfident, they came to the wrong place, because Weingroff and Poffo are out for a victory. It's going to be interesting to see, as this match progresses, great maneuver by Poffo, how the teamwork of Landell and Reed, how it meshes together. As we all know, the breakup of Reed and his regular partner, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, has started one of the most brutal feuds in all of wrestling. So Reed has a new partner, and right now Reed is certainly on the defensive, as Poffo and Weingroff are tagging in and out very expertly.
I was going to point out, Jim, that regardless of how great you are as a tag team, if you're unable to tag in your partner, it's to no avail.
Well, I tell you what, Boyd, it's like, on any given night, the Arkansas Razorbacks defeated North Carolina, #1 basketball team in the nation. No one would have thought that. Oklahoma State University defeated the #1 team, Iowa Hawkeyes, just a few weeks ago. On any given night, anyone can be defeated. And this may be the night for Weingroff and Poffo, because they're really cooking right now against Reed. Poffo, that drop kick right to the corner, and I'll tell you, Reed is really staggered. His eyes are glassy. Poffo a little over anxious, and Reed seizing the moment, held the ropes. And now Reed, a tremendous athlete, a two-time college All-American, and he's a power lifter, and he's one strong animal, I'll guarantee you. And now he tags in Nature Boy Buddy Landell, and Landell, in his own way, his own unique style, is a very, very dangerous competitor. Landell with that high knee right to the chest of Leaping Lanny, and Poffo now, the tables have turned and the momentum has swung to the red corner. And Landell taking a cheap shot at Weingroff, and now Fergie trying to put Weingroff out. The tag is made. The tag is made. Reed is the legal man in the ring now. They're seizing that 4 count. They take every shortcut they can. Double elbow. Well, my premonition that Reed and Landell might not work too smoothly has certainly not come true, because now they are working very, very expertly. That front face lock, Reed takes down Weingroff, the front face lock, and now a pinning predicament. Fergie with a count of 1. And Leaping Lanny fighting back. He gets to the corner. Weingroff is in. Weingroff is in. Landell comes in, and he's sent reeling. George Weingroff is opening up on both men. Weingroff is opening up on both men. And Landell, a cheap shot to the small of the back. The knee to the small of the back of Weingroff. The tag is made. Reed has made the tag. The slingshot. The slingshot on the high elbow. Landell in for the cover. 1, 2, and 3.
One put him down, the other made the cover for the victory for Hacksaw Butch Reed and Nature Boy Buddy Landell. We still have time. We'll have more action following this word from Mid-South.
This event is for 1 fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 303 pounds, from northern Minnesota, Crusher Darsow. And across the ring at 240 pounds, from Albany, Georgia, Steve Brinson.
We move into our 4th standby match this week. Crusher Darsow, the defector from northern Minnesota, to join his band and camaraderie of Nikolai Volkov, taking on Steve Brinson.
Well, Steve Brinson is a newcomer here on Mid-South Wrestling, and he certainly will have his hands full against the onslaught of 303-pound Russian sympathizer Crusher Darsow. And Darsow will go against Magnum TA here in our television tournament, our $10,000 tournament on the 5th week. It'll be Crusher Darsow against Magnum TA. And Darsow and Nikolai Volkov, Boyd, were humiliated, and I mean literally humiliated earlier by the Junkyard Dog and Terry Taylor, and Volkov was eliminated from the tournament. And now I'm sure, and it looks the look in his eye, that Crusher Darsow has come out with a vengeance and has really opened up on this young man, a very impressive looking young man from Albany, Georgia, Steve Brinson. Brinson's trying to fight back, but Darsow with that front face lock, and I'll guarantee you, he's got all that time wrapped in it.
And the next week will be the 4th week of the Mid-South Television Tournament, and that'll see Hacksaw Butch Reed taking on Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So that really will be some action, Jim.
That's right. And next week, Boyd, also want to remind the fans that the girls will be here. So we've got another great week next week, and I don't know how we can top this week with all the excitement, but it's going to be an exciting week. Right now, Crusher Darsow is having his way with Larry Brinson, or Steve Brinson, excuse me. Crusher Darsow is letting it all out. He's exploding on Steve Brinson here on Mid-South Wrestling. As we alluded to earlier, Darsow and Volk all for humiliated. We have 1 minute. We're being notified 1 minute of television time remaining. Crusher Darsow with that awesome slam on Steve Brinson. Darsow going for that maneuver, that upside down backbreaker, and he's got it locked in on Brinson, and Brinson giving up, and the victor in this match, Crusher Darsow.
Crusher Darsow takes a victory over Steve Brinson. Our time is almost gone. Remember, next week, week number 4 in the Mid-South Television Tournament, it'll be Hacksaw Butch Reed versus Jim the Anvil Neidhart, plus the Popular Girls stars. Thank you, Jim Ross, for an expert commentary this week. I'm Boyd Pierce saying thank you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week right here on the Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.